Hello, this is Dario Marjoli, and in this video, I'll be reviewing Chapter 3 of the course Project Management Foundations of LinkedIn Learning. This chapter is all about creating the project plan. The project plan identifies the work that needs to be done. Once you know the work that needs to be done, you can figure out the skills that are required and the resources needed. The first document that you must create for your project plan is called the Work Breakdown Structure, WBS. It's a diagram, and basically it breaks down the work to little pieces into tasks, basically. And then there's two levels of tasks. One are the summary tasks, which let's say a summary task can represent a deliverable, for example, a new scheduling system. And then there are the work packages, which go under the summary tasks. Work packages are the lowest level tasks in the work breakdown structure, and they explain the detailed work that needs to be done. Work packages should be small enough work that matches the frequency of your status reports. So the one or two people that are going to work on that work package, they're going to be done from one status report to another. The second document that you have to prepare for your project plan is the work package document. It is a document that tells your team member what they must do. Usually the functional manager or team leader writes these for their for the people that work for them. So it's not your job, it's the functional manager's job to do that. The third document that you need to prepare for your project plan is the document for estimating time and cost. First, you have to estimate the time it takes to do things. And then based on that, you will have the cost. Then there are some non-time related costs, for example, things that you might have to buy. There is a technique called Delphi for estimating costs, and it is based on asking three different managers that have gone through this before a similar project what the cost was, and then coming up with a median result. The fourth document that you need for your project plan is resource management plan. And this resource management plan has four sub-documents. The first sub-document is called responsibility matrix, and it uses a technique called RICA, where you put an I in front of people that need to be informed. So informed of any changes or updates. And then you put an A in front of the names of the people who are accountable for something. So for example, there has to be a person accountable for each part of the project. For example, project planning. Who's accountable for that? Who's accountable for project budget? Who's accountable for project analysis? Who's accountable for process redesign? Who's accountable for system implementation? Another sub-document of resource management is resource organization chart. Shows the hierarchy and reporting structure of the people who reports to whom. Then there's a skill matrix document. The fifth document that you need for your project plan is the project schedule document. It says how long the tasks will take and in which order they will be performed. It puts tasks in sequences and puts dependencies between them, and then estimates the time and assigns people to them. So that's the project schedule document. The sixth document for the project plan is called project budget document. In it, you come up with a rough estimate for the first two levels of the work breakdown structure. Uh, Document number 7 is identifying risk. So you identify risk and you fill out a risk information form for each risk that you identify. The project must have a contingency fund, which is usually 15% of the project's budget, because it is very likely that you might go up 15%. The eighth document in the project plan is the risk management plan. In it, you multiply the probability of a risk with the impact of it. And you use the numbers 1, 3, and 5. So if an item comes up with the value 25, it means it is high risk. For example, having a new system will mean that your old computers will no longer be functional. So it has a risk of 25, which is very high, and you have to manage this risk because it's 25. There's other ways to deal with risk. For example, avoidance, which means that you remove that risk from the scope of the project. And then there's also mitigation, which is having backups. The ninth document in the project plan is the communication plan. It has 3 columns: who, what, how. For example, who, the management. What? Well, they care about the project plan and its objectives. So how are the objectives? At what point are the objectives at? And how? First you start by giving them the project plan, and then after that you give them frequent status reports. The 10th document you need for your project plan is called the Quality Management Plan. It makes sure the project meets the customer requirements. It includes QA and it includes quality control. Quality control is passing the final acceptance test, meaning that the deliverable meets the acceptance criteria and the objectives. Then also you have to think about continuous improvement, which is when you detect problems and you correct them so that they don't happen again. The 11th document in the project plan is change request forms. This is whenever middle of the project there's a request for a change, and if such a form is accepted, then that means that you have to change your baseline. So you have to make changes to your original documents and your original project plan. Finally, the 12th document is the procurement plan, which is concepts such as having to purchase from outside the organization resources to complete the project. So, for example, hiring temp people to do the project. And finally, when you have all these documents, you need to obtain approval for your project plan. And this is done by getting all your stakeholders to sign and approve the project plan. And this must be done face to face. And if there are any discrepancies, they should be solved within that face to face meeting. That was it. That was chapter 3.